So like you're married, you're not, somebody who is divorced, but you and I had a great conversation earlier about your parents' divorce. And I always like to share, part of this podcast is talking to adult children of divorce, and whether your parents had an amicable divorce or a tumultuous divorce, it guides us in life to, wanting to give back or wanting to share our experiences in a way that's meaningful to help others. So I did want to just give you the opportunity to tell a little bit about why you ended up servicing, people who are getting divorced, and with your own past experience with your own parents.
Yeah, thanks for asking. I'm an only child, so I was brought up with both of my parents. And I'm going to say sometime in high school, I started to notice a few things, as we do as 15 and 16-year-olds. And my parents ended up separating when I was in college. And then their divorce was actually finalized the same year that I got married. And we went from, they were together for 29 years, and we went from one big happy family that they were pretending for me to do, to, an awful time of what was supposed to be the best day of my life ended up being not so great, because I had to separate my parents at the wedding and make sure that this one's yelling at this one because someone's paying for something and not paying for something, and all of the things that I went through as an adult. And I always kind of look back too and think, when I was in college, they could have just gotten this done. I can see, as a human being, that these two people are not happy together. This isn't where they need to be. And them pretending to do that wasn't helpful for me, because unfortunately it turned into, if, don't get me wrong, I got married right after college, but at the same time, maybe they had time to digest instead of, the digestion period happened right then and there, which was terrible and awkward for most people. But, the same as what you said about staying in your community, I always remember to say, check in with yourself. And if you have adult children, and honestly, adult children are 15 and 16 years old, who can see, mom's not happy, or, dad is always home, and where is mom? And it's different when they're little, and you think you can get away with it. But to see that in places just makes me remember that piece and say, that's something that's important to me, that if I ever felt this way, I would reach out to Tanya, and to make sure that we're, moving through these motions instead of making a big celebration end up being something so meh. But
Yeah. I mean, and so what did they end up doing, once they got divorced? Did they sold the family home? Did they stay in the town? Like, did one person hold on to it, the other person move on? Like, what was the scenario?
yes. So my mom ended up staying in the home, but when I got back from college, I ended up moving in with my dad. At that point, I never had to do the back and forth. I didn't have a childhood like that, so I got to sort of adult choose where I wanted to be. And for me, being closer to my father meant home to me, even though my mom was in the home. So when she ended up selling a few years later, for me, it was just basically to help her, and kind of go through that. But the emotional piece wasn't for me. The emotional piece was for her.
Yeah. Interesting. So I can carry that forward. So home is where the heart is. Your father wasn't in the family home where you grew up, and you made that decision. You wanted to just stay with your dad for whatever emotional connection purposes that
It wasn't
provided.
even a resort place like you're living in.
I know we didn't have a golf simulator, and I value that, and so, when you were in the real estate industry, obviously you became a real estate agent first. What drew you to being wanting to help people who are going through divorce?
Yeah, I think that's just like anything else, right? It's not that I sought out divorcing people. Throughout my career, I just had these connections where I'm working through with people. And don't get me wrong, it's so cute and fun to work with first-time home buyers and see the light turn on and see their first home. But at the same time, it's for me so rewarding to help a Tanya, who, if we can plan ahead, or if we can, to be able to have these tools, I feel like everyone in our lives right now, basically, whether you're in finance or maybe you're a stay-at-home mom or whatever, your your own knowledge, to be able to share that with people to help them do something in a different way or shed a different light on it or take stress away, really was the draw for me when I had this, older divorcing couple, and, she didn't want to go, and he was working with me first. He introduced me to their home, and, we worked through those bits and pieces. And at the end, now that we work with divorcing people all the time, it still stays true. And a year later, I had a handwritten letter from the wife saying, "Thank you for being there and helping us through that. But thank you even more for letting me walk away from that piece and let me start my life." So that's the rewarding pieces.